Hi everyone and welcome to another language variation video about family members. So this is our second video. Watch the first one if you want to find out how you can call your mom and dad in Hungarian, French, English and Malay.
So the first one we have is cousin.
And in French it is cousin or cousine. So
depending on the
masculine and feminine
okay.
cousine with an E. You just add an E at the end for the feminine.
But
then it sounds different as well.
Do you have like a general term for like that includes both genders?
So generally speaking in French you have the masculine version as the general term. So
you have so the gender neutral term is unoka testvér, which is like, it's really interesting because unoka means like grandchild and testvér means sibling. So it's like
Grandchild sibling.
yeah, so it's the
It's like the level.
yeah,
it's
exactly. It's like one further away than your sibling.
I mean, the whole English idea of, you know, like one's cousin twice removed or something
That's
like that.
so confusing.
That's
Yeah.
so confusing. Yeah, that sounds like it's close to that because they're like grandchild brothers.
So how would you say like cousin once removed or second cousin or third cousin?
It's a similar thing. So like másod unoka testvér, which means like secondary like cousin. So the secondary cousin is when my grandparent and their grandparent are siblings. That's like our secondary. But I have no idea how it goes on after that. Like if it's a bit like further away.
I get what
no
you
idea.
mean.
Because like in English, like it always confused me. But so my mum's cousin's son, that's my second cousin. But my mum's cousin is my first cousin once removed.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And so then it goes
We
further
don't have
down.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a word for or like a phrase to refer to my mum's cousin.
Yeah, because my
I
mum's
just say
cousin.
my mum's cousin.
Oh, I just say the name, but yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, I tend to just generally do cousins because otherwise it gets too confusing.
Yeah.
So for Malay, we say it's a very cute word, sepupu.
I like
Sepupu.
that.
So it is a generic term as usual. We don't have gendered nouns. So if it's a male cousin, it's sepupu lelaki, which means man, or sepupu perempuan, which is woman. But the idea is that you wouldn't go to someone, like introduce and say like, this is my cousin. You wouldn't use the gender. You would just say, this is my sepupu. And I'm not sure about Malay, but in most languages, or more like the languages I speak at home, we only use the term cousins for everyone in the same generation. And my parents' cousins, to me, they are my aunts and uncles.
That used to be like the same thing in
Yes.
English, but then it's kind of moved away from it now. Like, because everyone, like at that level, would be like auntie or uncle.
Yeah, 'cause that makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah.
French,
Very complicated.
we have this term, I mean I'm not even sure exactly what it refers to, but the cousin germain.
The German cousin?
Yes! So I'm not actually sure what type of cousin this refers to and why it's called like that.
So now we have son, daughter, and these are your children.
And in French you talk about ton fils or ta fille, and they are ce sont tes enfants.
Tes
So-
enfants.
Enfant is children, and yes, fils is written with LS and fille is with double LE. And interestingly enough, like fils, if you write it the same, you can write it the same way, but it has a different meaning. Fil with an S means like ties, like
Eyes, like
like shoelaces,
Okay,
like connections,
okay.
like ties, as in like
okay.
like strings, like So
Hmm.
I think that that's the meaning behind it. They say.
Okay.
But enfant sounds like infant.
Yes, Yes, and I'm pretty sure that they are linked because.
Oh.
But
It's a
enfant
Latin thing,
in
right?
yes, so enfant in French is to refer to children in general, but it must be coming from the same thing of infancy and
Cool.
infant.
Yeah, in Hungarian, children would be gyerekek. Gyerek is child, and then you have. I had to think about this quite a bit because I couldn't think of the word that I would use for a daughter or a son.
Oh.
We always use it conjugated, like my son, his son, your son, and it's like, okay, so it's basically, if you don't conjugate it, it's just the words that we use for like male and female, fiu, lijn.
Oh.
But
That's
if you
interesting.
conjugate it, it's like fia,
So it's
for
like boy and
somebody's
girl.
son.
kind of.
Yeah, boy and girl, basically.
So like my
My
boy,
boy,
my
girl.
boy, my girl.
Okay.
It sounds so old school.
That's what my
Say it
grandma
in
used to say.
English.
My girl. My girl.
And then you have lány, which is like girl, and lánya, lányom, so like somebody's daughter, my daughter.
Actually, in French, fille also means girl.
Oh.
Right?
Well, then Malay is way easier in this regard. So kids in general, children is anak,
I know.
but
Easy.
but children as in someone's children, like my kids, that's anak. But children as in look at those children, it's a different word. Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't call those anak unless you're like a grandmother of the village, and then you were like,
All
anak,
they're all
anak.
my
Yeah, exactly. But like,
Interesting.
yeah, and then if you want to say your son, then is you just add the word male behind because that's where adjectives go. So anak lelaki is son, and anak perempuan is daughter. So basically, is male kid or female kid or child.
And what would you call children that are not affiliated to you?
That's a very good question. In my head, the first word that comes is budak, like just kids in general.
Okay.
Yeah, so like let's say if you go to the playground, you can just say like budak, which is the plural form of many children. Yeah.
Speaking of this, let's do granddaughter, grandson, and grandchildren.
So in French, we talk about les petits enfants. So we had les grands-parents, which are the grandparents. They are big. And then we have les petits enfants, which are the small children.
That's actually that
makes
makes
more
sense.
sense.
Actually, yes.
And you have la petite fille, and
So like a little girl.
yeah,
Okay.
and petit-fils. So you would say c'est mon petit-fils,
But-
c'est ma petite fille.
Right. In Hungarian, the general term is unoka. That's grandchild. And then you have, we don't really use the gendered forms, but they exist. Fiu unoka, lány unoka, but this is like, I never heard anyone say that. I mean, I saw it written down in like books, but I never really heard it used.
And in Malay, it's exactly the same concept as
Okay.
children, but the term for grandchildren is cucu.
Oh, that's really cute.
That's how
Like a
my
little
friend
train.
calls her mom.
So cucu, and then grandson will be cucu lelaki, and granddaughter will be cucu perempuan.
Oh,
But-
that sounds so cute.
But then again, like for me, like in Hungarian, there's just no reason to have the gender there generally, except in books or when you really need to be descriptive.
Yeah.
You know, this is my granddaughter. This is how she looks.
That's so
Sounds
cute.
like my little toy.
Yeah, it does.
It's
I
like
mean-
a choo-choo train.
I mean, you will say it in Malay, which is ini cucu aku.
Okay, next we have husband and wife.
So in French, we would say mari et femme. So mari is husband, which I mean is linked to
Oh
married.
my god, I really thought you were like married, like in the English, like married fam, like you're my fam. Oh.
I don't think that would be a word that I made.
No, which is why I thought that's really strange.
No, we literally. So we say mari is marié is husband, but it comes obviously from marriage, married.
Yeah.
So it's the one that's the male person who is married is the mari. But the woman is called la femme, which means the woman.
Just like German actually, Frau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, when they say like man and wife.
Yeah.
I hate it when they do that because
But
I'm
it's like that. Actually it's almost the other way
but
around.
But it's the opposite way
It's the
around.
opposite,
The woman's
yeah.
not changing, but the
the
man is
woman's not
changing.
Man's changed.
Which I like better than the.
Yeah, and if they've just got married, then you can talk, or if they're getting married, you can talk about le mari and la mariée. But
Like the engaged.
no, they literally newlyweds. You talk about.
Yeah, in Hungarian, the husband is férj and the wife is feleség.
Feleség.
Start with an F. Yeah,
Feleség.
but what I really like is that, like you have like these different forms of these, and my grandma always used to say about my grandpa when she talked about him, férjuram, which means like my husband men. And it's just like the cutest little word. I really love it. It's like I never heard anyone else use that, and I absolutely love it. Férjuram.
So in Malay, it doesn't sound cute anymore. At least I think. The term for husband is suami. Yeah, it's for me. It can sound like a mouthful. The wife is a bit better. Is istri or isteri, but then how we say it
No,
is
it
always
sounds like she's
istri.
hysteric.
Or history.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
thinking.
It's isteri, but like. You only pronounce every single syllable so obviously in studies, you know. You just say istri, so tri is like it kind of blends into each other. Yeah, then you say swami, istri. It's usually used as a very generic term, like this is my husband, this is my wife. But then of course, there's also where they just say this is my man or this is my woman in a very like. Like kind of like my Mann und meine Frau, but it just sounds a little bit, I don't know, coarser when you do it in Malay.
Okay.
So Swami is really the formal term, but you say like, this is my man.
But
just,
funny enough, in French it's the same. If you say mon homme, it's like, it's a possession.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
Okay.
Yeah, and in English, like this is the formal way of
Yeah.
saying it, but obviously there are other terms that are used in more casual ways. Okay, last but not least, we have niece and nephew. And there isn't really a collective term for the two, but my sister likes to say nibblings.
Nibblings.
That's quite nice, nibblings, I like that. So in French, niece is nièce, so it's the same thing, and nephew is neveu, which is also very similar, just spelled slightly differently. And I don't think there is a term to talk about both. Just saying nièce and neveu.
I don't think we have a collective term either. I really have to think about it, but I haven't found
I wish
it yet.
there would be though.
Yeah, because you have, like if you have both, then it's like it takes 3 words to
Yeah,
refer
exactly.
to them. So with nieces and nephews, we're back to the logic we had for cousins. So with like unoka öcs, that's a nephew. Unoka húg is a niece. So it's like a grandchild, younger brother or younger sister.
Interesting.
So it's like, it's not your younger brother or sister, but sort of, in a way,
someone
they
else's.
are like your little brother and sister, but because they're not your children, they're somebody else's children, but they're still very close in the family. It's just like easy. Makes complete sense.
The Malay one is very literal. So the term for nieces and nephews is anak saudara. Anak from kids, and saudara is relative.
Child relative.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and also because the anak is in front, that means it's actually the child of the relative. So anak saudara lelaki and
Okay.
anak saudara perempuan. Of course, that's the concept, and that's how I think the words came about, because it's my relative kids, and whether it's my cousin's kids or my siblings' kids, it's all anak saudara. That's how I would.
I so like you don't separate.
No,
the
because it's by
relations.
generation. If it's my kids plus my siblings' kids plus my generation's cousins' kids, they're all one generation below us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like this distinction between the generations.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, Malay is the easier one here. If you go into like Mandarin Chinese, that's a whole new world. That's another video.
Merci d'avoir regardé notre vidéo. Nous espérons que cela vous ait plu.
Si c'est le cas, pensez à liker, commenter et à partager la vidéo avec votre famille et vos amis.
Vous souhaitez en voir davantage? Allez jeter un coup d'œil à notre playlist.
N'oubliez pas de vous abonner à notre chaîne et à cliquer sur la petite cloche pour recevoir des notifications de nos vidéos à venir.